Good morning, guys. It's Thursday. It's 11:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That means it's 2:30 p.m. in New Zealand. That means it's about 9:30 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Time. Howdy, how you going? We're back on YouTube, on a dedicated channel for Under the Rug, so that we can keep things separate, which is great. Neil, how you doing, my brother?
Oh, I'm actually really excited to be back on a channel where I can see the comments now. So,
Oh no, so good, right? And that's the primary reason we moved.
well, but to have their own specific channel, so we're not sort of sort of tailgating off your own channel and all the wonderful
Yeah.
things that you're doing there yourself, Andrew. But sort of if they're going to take anything down, they're just taking down that channel, not taking you down with it.
Oh, they might take it all down because that's kind of what they do. But on that front, the CEO of YouTube did step down last week, so that's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder if it's because she got a hand slap for censorship, like
Yeah.
everybody else. Like, oh my God, those Twitter. You see all the women, everybody in court for the Twitter files, and them just roasting them.
Oh,
What are some of the questions? Where did you get your medical degree from? I don't have one. Oh, so you feel you're qualified to censor people from Stanford and Harvard who do have medical degrees. You're qualified to censor those people. Their expert opinion.
she wrote. You're right. I was going to say nailed, but roasted is just appropriate. They just had no answers. It's like bang, 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 bang. Good job. And to sort of see that coming through. So I doubt whether that was on mainstream, but certainly through all that. Well, I mean, we're the mainstream now anyway. So
Exactly. Nobody believes the shit that's coming. Well, at least by now they shouldn't believe the shit that's coming out on the news because it's all propaganda.
yeah,
G'day,
yeah.
Brad. G'day, Aiden. We're fantastic. Thanks very much. You can see those, can you, Neil?
I can. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
good. That makes me happy. So last week we touched on some pretty interesting stuff. Last week we talked about the healing frequencies. Hey guys, if you want to know what those frequencies are, they're freely available online. You can go onto YouTube and just look up healing frequencies, and hey, you'll be. In fact, prefix that with binaural healing frequencies, and you'll be met with a plethora of videos that, if you listen to them in headphones, and which we've done a couple of times on the show here throughout the whole show, you'll get the benefit from it. So you can literally plug into that sort of thing straight away. The device that I was talking about, I still haven't got my hands on mine yet, so I still can't really give you too much information about it. I can, but I can't give you as much as I'd like. I certainly can't get them for you yet. But in the next week or so, I'll definitely be able to, and Neil will too.
Well, and I guess the reason why we talk about that and the world that we're moving into and fast moving into. We don't have our health. We're not going to be able to manage the wealth and everything that comes with us into the new world. So
That's right.
priorities is health is right up there and has to be number one with everything you're sort of doing at the moment. Whether you're online or just being online and around your computers, you're absorbing these women negative frequencies or energies that come off these things. So my phone, I've got some that's covered on the back there, and my laptop, which I'm looking to you guys, it's got the same sort of sticker.
Sorry,
So
mine did too. I got mine. Oh, you can't see it.
yeah, I can see it just there. Yeah. So. And of course, I'm not sure if you see this, but I'm always wearing sort of stuff on my body as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
I got my sacred geometry woman on me forever. Geometry on me forever.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That woman. That's any way we can to protect ourselves because we are soldiers in an invisible war.
Well, who would we have on? He's talked about 5th generation warfare. That was Kiwi.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Our mate Kiwi talked about the 5th generation warfare, and that's really where we are. I mean, if you look at what's going on globally, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, last week we spoke. Did we speak about weather last week, or was that the week before? Man, so much going on.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, we get together before the show, and what do we talk about? It's like there's so much that's going on, and boy, things have certainly picked up in the last 7 days.
I was about to say, and things seem to be picking up momentum.
Yeah,
I struggle. I wear a shungite. Yes, absolutely, Tracy. Shungite is awesome. I've got a shungite wolf right here. He sits with me. I've got one in my room. I've got another piece of raw shungite here. Oh, and I've got Shungite pyramid as well.
Oh wow!
So Shungite's good. So what was I saying?
I didn't see those comments come up.
Didn't you? They're there.
I've only got Aidan and Brad's greetings.
And Aidan's also said, glad to hear, Felix. I think he's referring to you because you look like a cat. I said cat, not pussy. So,
Oops, off target, off track already.
No. So, guys, as with any week, anything that we say here this week is our opinion. We certainly encourage you to go do your own research and find out the things. But our show exists so people start asking questions. It's not for you to go, oh, they've said it, must be true. No, go out and find out for yourself. Because, I mean, as depressing as it is, it's better than being ignorant and then getting killed by someone who, yeah, right.
Well, it's asking the questions. Something doesn't look right, doesn't seem right, then don't just ignore it. Ask a question.
Yeah, I mean, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, according to MSN, it's probably a mouse.
Oh, you mean like here in New Zealand, we've been pounded with shitty weather over the last few weeks. So the first one happened probably nearly a month ago up in Auckland, and it was a weather bomb. And, there was not half a dozen, I think 3 or 4 people that died in that. And I had family members that were out in their 4-wheel drives, helping rescue people. Now, there was absolutely no warning with that whatsoever. None. And yet the following week, there's a warning comes out, there's Cyclone Gabriel coming down the pipe, and it's going to dump they downgraded it, but they should never have. But everybody was prepared for that. Mind you, not everybody survived that. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But
we're going to come around to that.
The thing is, if they can give us a warning for Gabriel, then the same technology and everything. Where was the warning for the week before? Where was it? So nothing.
See, and I think we spoke about it briefly. I've got a theory about the one the week before in Auckland. I mean, when have you ever seen Auckland Airport flooded?
Never.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Yet it was flooded. It was underwater. So there was also reports that week about final operations happening in the South Pacific and deep state underground bases being taken out. And I believe they exist in Auckland, guys. I do. I believe there's a tunnel from Auckland to Australia. And whether we like it or not, New Zealand has got trafficking the same as everywhere else in the world.
Yeah. And when you we haven't even talked about this off the air. So it's like when you talk about water and airports, what's the airport? Denver Airport.
Oh yeah.
Like that's just evil as even the symbolism and everything around the airport.
So much symbolism. So there's a horse, a stallion at the entrance to. I mean, just search Denver Airport conspiracy and you'll find heaps of information. But there's a horse guarding, if you like, the airport. It's on the way into the airport. It's like a gate, and it has at night its eyes are illuminated blue. But they reckon it's cursed because the guy that built it died not long after it, and it's apparently because he had too many secrets or something. But the symbolism there is just ridiculous.
The crazy, yeah. So when you sort of talk about the airports and what happened there, I think we're going to talk something else before we started talking about New Zealand and what's going on here, because it's just devastating what's really going on here. It's not being reported, but we actually had an attack before then to bring to you guys.
Yep. So hold your hats. Have a watch of this, guys.
Okay, roll film.
Would you like that a protein?
That stuff causes cancer in laboratory animals, in case you didn't know.
Either I chew gum or I smoke.
What are these children, yours?
That's mine from wives 1 and 3. There's Babette's from husband 2. Wilder is ours. We're each other's 4th.
Life is good, Jack.
I hope it lasts forever.
Something that could actually kill
Let's watch a sitcom or something.
They're calling it the airborne toxic event.
It won't come this way.
Will we have to leave our home?
Of course not.
How do you know?
I just know.
Okay, what if it's dangerous?
Evacuate all places of residence.
We have a situation. All we have to do is stay out of the way.
They're passing us, Dad.
Technically, that's illegal.
Do sheep have lashes?
Ask your father.
We're going sideways.
Dad, do sheep have lashes?
Doesn't anyone want to pay attention to what's actually happening?
I wish there was something I could do. I wish I could outthink the problem.
There are two kinds of people in the world. Killers and dyers. Most of us are dyers.
Right now we're safe. As long as the children are here, they need us.
Of some persistent sense of large-scale ruin, we keep inventing hope.
Now, who can tell me in the comments why I played that trailer?
And
Bonus points if you can tell me where it's filmed, where it's filmed on location somewhere. Bonus points if you can tell me where it's filmed and what it's about. We'll get further to that. Actually, it makes me want to go and watch the movie now. Although, hasn't Adam Driver gotten old? Holy heck. He must have had the shot.
oh, ain't true.
What? Sorry, what? Yep, well done, Tracy. Ohio. Where exactly in Ohio? Close to East Palestine. Yeah. What's just happened there? Anyone?
Well, I mean, yeah, but so the next question would be, how many other similar derailments have happened in the States? It's
Yeah, what were you telling me before we went live? You said there's some guy in Ohio near the train lines. Tell us that.
No. So I read it.
Oh, you read it. Well, that's all right. You can read it.
I've just got to find it again now. I think it's here. So it's from Brutal Reality. This is Jenny D. So pray for Pennsylvania. So lived by the train since 2009 here, and as a kid since 1985. Never heard them cutting the rail when the rail is brand new. Filmed them today, Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. They saw me and left quickly. Then a helicopter came and had a light so my camera couldn't pick it up. Praying I'm not just being on high alert from the daily derailments. So it's like daily like have a look at Pennsylvania when this was posted today, and obviously that was it's Thursday here in New Zealand, so it's still Wednesday in Australia. So
In
next
the US.
that system is potentially a derailment if they're cutting a brand new rail system.
Yeah. And then you start to add all these things together, like all the food the food plants that have been destroyed, right? And all the chicken plants, whether they're battery hens or what, it's irrelevant. You know, they've been destroyed. There's a lack of eggs. There's a lack of food. And I saw something today. It was very, very briefly. It was like your greens are being controlled. You know, why is there a shortage of produce on the shelves, but an abundance of junk food? It's because they want to keep you fat, dumb, and happy. They want to keep you eating that shit, that processed food, because it's not good for you at all.
And it's probably easier to grow bugs and put them into our food.
You shall eat the bugs.
Jesus.
Klaus Schwab. Somebody sent me something this morning. It was quite funny. It was Klaus Schwab talking and saying, no one will be safe until everyone has had the vaccine. And then it cuts to this little girl, and she's talking, and she goes, I've got something to say to Klaus Schwab. How dare you? Absolutely mocking Greta Thunberg. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's the sort of stuff we need to play, Andrew.
Yeah, I know. I should go and find it. Hey, but have a look at this. Obviously, you know, we have our thoughts on who is actually in control in the States, but I want to show you. Oh no, I did it again. because I usually have a Stream Deck, guys, but my Stream Deck's not working today, so I've got to do it by hotkeys. And if I'm on the wrong screen, it doesn't change properly. So I want you to read this. Trump visits Ohio town of chemical spill. Biden blames him for bad safety regulations.
Yeah.
That said,
where was Biden when he blamed him?
Right here. Biden makes surprise visit to the Ukraine for the first time since... Look at when it is. Monday, the 20th of February. That's this week. Well, that should tell you all you need to know about this dude's priorities, because it's certainly not the US, is it? And guys, we bang on about the US and people go, well, what's the relevance to us? It's got plenty of relevance to us. It's all relevant to us.
Yeah.
It's the deep state. It's the likes of Biddy Biden, Brandon, he's a puppet, let's be honest. He's certainly not the mastermind behind it. In fact, I'm not sure he's got a mind anymore. But it's the likes of him and the people that came before him, the Bushes, the Clintons,
the Obamas.
Exactly. Hussein Obamas. They are all working for the same thing. They're all working in conjunction with the WF to try and bring in a one world government. If that happens, a one world government, this isn't a conspiracy, guys. You can search all of this shit. It's all out there for anyone to see. And if right down to the agenda, to the UN agendas, we go, oh, it's a sustainable living agenda. No, it's not. It's a you'll have nothing and be happy agenda. Although I'm not going to be happy. They can take me out. I don't care. But it all comes down to that one thing. That's why we keep hitting back to stuff that's happened in the US, because it has a direct reflection or a direct correlation on what happens with us. That's why old Taxinda got stepped down a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't because she didn't think she could feel up to it. It's because she got told, you're out, he's in.
Yep. And then sort of in short sequence after that, we start getting weather bombed and earthquakes. There's certainly there's that side of things, and we're pretty close to faults and that down here. We've had some pretty devastating earthquakes in our time frame here, in my timeline since being here in NZ. So NZ, I'm a Kiwi all my life.
Hey, on that note, just have a look at this. Hold on. Damn, I did it again.
The tentacles run so deep, and the tentacles of control. Yeah, what have we got there?
They do. A lot of smoke and mirrors. Wanting to get something done will require a committee or an expensive consultant, unless it's on the WF UN Central Bank agenda. 100%. This is it. I don't know who this is supposed to be. The little prick said, I want you out of here until we've won the election. Then you'll be reinstated with carte blanche to continue breaking up of the country. And you said, deal, Chippy? It's just like... if you don't laugh, then what are you going to do?
Well, this is I guess we like to sort of have this as the lighter side of the Armageddon.
We're going to give you a blow by blow and laugh about it the whole way.
Well, that's because we know what the ending is,
That's right. It's a happy ending. It's a good ending.
Yeah.
And it is a good ending.
Yeah.
It is. Well, they're not winning. They're not winning. It might look like it is, but that's only because they still control the majority. I won't say all, but they still control the majority of the mass media. It's all Mockingbird. It's all propaganda.
Yeah. Well, there's so many sort of names or topics out there. The greatest transfer of wealth, the Great Awakening, the RV. All these sorts of things going on, and they've all got their own sorts of narratives, and there's more than one narrative from their side and the good side, and there's so many different, which just makes it confusing, which keeps everybody scratching their head going, what the hell is really going on? But it is really about the Great Awakening, and it's bigger than us as individuals. It's bigger than communities. It's bigger than countries. This is a human consciousness, dare I say it, upgrade, and as more and more people wake up to this upgrade, then we're getting close to the point of what they call it, the precipice of where we have to make change.
Yeah. I'm just finding a video here.
No different than when you get bloody go to the doctors and he gives you the big blooming diagnosis of the big C, and it's only at that point that you make change. 9 times out of 10 is too late.
Yeah.
Oh, got some rumbling thunder in the background. You won't be able to hear it, but clearly there's another storm coming in.
I don't think I'm going to get this here. Oh yeah, there it is. Cool. So it should. Yep, there you go. Just have a watch of this, guys. Now, in case you don't know what he said Slav Nazi. So just watch again. Now, this is the scourge we were meant to have fucking eradicated at the end of the Second World War. Why the hell are we still... Why are we still fighting these clowns? Oh, do you not see when... Well, I'm going to touch on something else again in a minute because it's really pissing me off too, because it's got to do with this here. Can you not see? Your government, New Zealand government, Australian government, all the governments at this end of the world are still putting the money up to these guys. This is what they're doing. These are Nazis. Our countries are literally supporting Nazis. That's it. There's no other way to cut that. They outwardly show you. Now, there's a guy here in Australia that just got arrested under terrorism charges. I better lock my door. I might get a kick on the door myself in a minute. Dave Graham, after he'd been on a show with John Laws, who's supposedly a journalist, man, what an arrogant fucker that is. I listened to him, I was like, what a cock. But anyway, he's got over 30 odd years or 50 years or something in the industry, so good on him, I guess. But yeah, he said, Dave Graham asked him, he said, well, our country, our government's not doing a very good job of running our country. And John Laws said, well, I think they are. Well, what, are you fucking blind? Well, I think they are. And he says, really? You honestly think that? And John Laws says, yeah, I do. And then he turned it back around to Dave and he said, so, why don't you think they're doing a good job? He goes, well, because they're sending money up to the Ukraine to start with. And John Laws, now I asked a question on Facebook the other night, guys, and it was, what does NATO stand for? I knew exactly what it stood for, but I wanted to know if other people knew what it stood for. Now, for those who don't know, NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay? Just hold that thought for a second. Oh, no. I don't know what that means. Hopefully we're still recording on yeah, we still got people there. Guys, if you're still watching us, just let us know, because I just had a thing come up that tells me said something strange. But anyway, I'm going to carry on. So he said, well, no, they're not doing that good a job. They've sent all this money to the Ukraine when they should be spending money on their own country. We've had our own devastating floods here recently as well. I mean, and most of what happened in Lismore got covered up the same as what is being covered up in New Zealand, right? With right now. But he said, well, no. John Law said, no, well, we've got an obligation to support that, to support NATO. No, we don't. Australia's not in the fucking Atlantic. It's not even in the Northern Hemisphere. So no, it doesn't have a obligation to support NATO at all. One iota. It's not a NATO member. It doesn't have that obligation. So the only thing that you could deduce from that is that money's being sent up there to launder it because the cabal still need money. That's all I can think of. How about you, Neil?
Well, I've been watching the bigger picture for a while now.
Watching it all play out.
Yeah, it's like these guys are on their last legs. They're stealing money from us for their own nefarious needs, and they're on their last legs. They've had their massive money printing machines turned off or taken away from them. They can't do that anymore. So what you're witnessing now is the biggest woman money laundering system in any way that they can get it up there. So that they're doing it through crypto, they're doing it through proxy. They call it a proxy war. That's probably the wrong word, but we know what's really going on. And you've got all these countries sending up women ammunition and firing weapons and military and all those sorts of things. I'm hoping the bigger picture of all of that, from our perspective, is that that's just Europe and the countries that are sending military aid up there, that it's just getting demolished
Destroyed.
by
As part of Jassara.
So when we get to the end of this, there'll be no ammunition or military equipment to have any wars again anyway, because we've destroyed them all.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That, if you think about that, that kind of could also tie into the equipment being left in Afghanistan when the Yanks pulled out.
Oh,
Possibly. I remember there was all those videos come out of and guys, I'm not trying to legitimize the Taliban or anything like that, but there was all these videos come out afterwards. They were like children in a playground, or they're sitting on the blades of a helicopter like a merry-go-round. Just the shit they were doing was ridiculous. It was almost like they were trolling. But there's some serious things coming up, and you said something just then, Neil, that just reminded me that, guys, we're probably, Robert Kiyosaki said this, I think it was the start of the week, it was either the start of the week or into last week, that, we're about ready for the stock market to crash. And then that was followed up by somebody else that within the next days, weeks, right? And I'd suggest that probably, and I hate to put dates on things the same as Neil because they often never come true, but they happen eventually. But I'd say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see something catastrophic in the stock market, right? That has to collapse for the new system to start, because that old stock market is a Khazarian relic, if you like. So it's created by the cabal so that the cabal benefit from it. Now, the other side of that is that your money's not safe in the bank. The bail-ins are coming. Bail-ins are coming. Now, what's a bail-in? Well, if you don't know what a bail-in is, let me start with what's a bailout. What happened at the end of the global financial crisis in 2018, in 2008, they had major bailouts. So that was when the banks run themselves into the ground. If it was any normal business, that's it. They'd be bankrupt, they'd be gone. There's no bailout from the government. Bye. And they cite all this shit saying, oh, well, it's because of economic security and stability. Be fucked it is. It's just you looking after your cronies. But a bailout is when the taxpayer funds the rescue, right? So the government goes out and says, oh, we're going to help the banks. We're giving them X amount of millions of dollars. I don't know why they're doing that. They should just be taking it and say, well, we're already in debt to you for this much, so we'll just take it off that tab. How does that sound? Well, wouldn't that make sense? So they do this. They bail the banks out with the taxpayer money, right? The next side of that is bail-ins, because all of the governments around the world said, we will not support another bailout. If you get yourself in the shit, then that's it. You're done. Cool. You'll be over. So what happened then was legislation was written. Australia's no different. New Zealand's no different. And you can challenge me. I don't care. You can say it's not true. Doesn't matter. It still is. Everywhere in the world, bail-in laws have been written up to say that if the banks find themselves in the shit, they can take up to, if your account is above a certain amount, they can take that money for an indefinite amount of time. Means they don't have to pay it back. They can keep that shit indefinitely. And what you need to understand about being in a bank is that you are a non-secured creditor. A non-secured creditor. That means if they take your money, if they go tits up, you've essentially given them a loan. That's what it means. If they go tits up, that's it. And yes, while there may be some government insurances for X amount that you have in your account, it will not cover all of it. It will not cover all of it. And even then, you'll probably find with any insurance, there's a little loophole in there that gets them out of paying it anyway. So having your money in the bank is not the safe place. I don't know where is the safest place at the moment. I'd be saying something, and this is my opinion, guys. This is not financial advice whatsoever. None of what I've said is financial advice. But I'd be putting mine into precious metals. Silver, I think, personally, has that's why I've got as much silver as I have, has the biggest upside. It's definitely low. So it's all there, guys. And if you go in Australia, it's 250,000. New Zealand has no limit. There you go. See?
When did we? But I mean, like, we've been doing this show for a few months now, just before Christmas. But I mean, you've been talking about this for 5 years now, Andrew. The bail-in.
Because the laws have been around that long.
Yeah. This is
just
nothing
for this time that we're about to hit.
Yeah, nothing new. It's like you could sort of say it way back then, and it just sort of falls on deaf ears.
Now
And
it's getting serious.
to be honest, it's still falling on deaf ears. And for those people that get hit with that, and I've got people close to me that that's probably going to happen to, there'll be a rude awakening.
Yeah, sadly.
Now, because certain people that are close to me, I've made sure that they're diversified, so that they're not hit as hard. But on the brighter side of all of that, though, and we talk about the RV, we've talked about that revaluation and the country's revaluation starting. So by all accounts, I think we talked about it last week, was the Iraqi dinar has started the revaluation. And they're talking about that as a lead-in to Jazara and what Jazara is all about. So that would hopefully nullify anything, we kind of get, I think it's all going to kind of happen, and it's either implode or explode all around the similar time frame. And, but yeah, I guess, but it's just being prepared for anything that comes. And
and some intel that we've had this week, and again, we don't like putting dates on it, and you asked the question when I said it to you, we talked about it. Are we talking about this calendar, or are we talking about the Julian calendar? Because, allegedly we're moving calendars again, going back to a 13-month calendar, which is logical when you think about it. There's 13 new moons in a year. Everything points to the fact that we should be running a 13-month calendar. But the dates are like, we've been told this week, get your supplies. Make sure you've got enough perishables and non-perishables to last for 3 weeks, because it could be that long that there's likely to be martial law. The military will be equipped in some capacity to provide food for you, but it won't be a lot, and it won't be what you're used to eating. Believe me, I've been down there. But the upshot of what I just said, if it's to be believed, right? Now, there's no guarantee in that. There's no guarantee in life except death. So you still have to make your provisions. You still have to look after yourself. And I think that's why this is dragging on as long as it is, Neil, is because we need people to be thinking for themselves and not dependent on other people. No, what do I have to do? You got to start thinking for yourself. You got to participate in your own rescue. So all of that said, with the bail-ins and everything that I've mentioned, there's a very good chance that already your QFS account has been credited with the same amount. So your balance in your QFS account will mirror whatever is in your Swift system account. And I say that for lack of a better term, right?
They have everything.
Yeah, that's right. So if that does happen and they bail themselves out, they'll still ultimately fail, by the way. You supposedly already got this in your QFS account in the equivalent of XLM, which would be great, and the chances of that, of going through the moon is probably quite high when you look at how much is in supply and what function it's going to do. The same with XRP. We've spoken about that before at great length as well. So it's not necessarily all doom and gloom. However, take precautions. I mean, that's not a given. That's not a guarantee. So take precautions so that you are looked after, particularly with food. Get yourself some food. My goodness.
With what's happened down here in New Zealand over the last couple of weeks, and there's several regions within New Zealand that have been
smashed.
Yeah, they've gone back to third world status. Just wiped off the blooming face of Google Maps, pretty much. And so there's shitty stories to come out of that, but there's good stories as well. But with human nature, when you lose access to all, basically your power, your food, fuel, and shelter, it's like you're bringing out the best and the worst in people. And that has been highlighted through social media. Mainstream media have tried to play down what's going on in the Hawke's Bay and the Gisborne regions. And to think that there's, I've seen different numbers, and I'm going to stick with the lower number. There's still 1,400 people missing in those areas, or unaccounted for. And if they haven't put their hand up and come forward by now, there's a good chance that they've been swept away in the floods.
Yep.
Now, what you have is local thuggery in the area that generally ride around on motorbikes with a patch on their back are basically
newspaper
raping.
kids.
Well, they don't have patches on their backs, but
Oh,
you know, they are terrorizing, stealing, beating, killing, robbing on every level down there, but that's only a small minority of the populace down there. The majority down there that can in there helping and doing the right thing, and so there's lots of awesome stories out there of help and survival and people surviving. And
the problem with what you said there is that they might be the minority, but there is they are they're the subset of people that didn't hand their guns in because only honest people handed their guns in that gun grab. The last two gun grabs that the country's had, and I've done it twice in recent years. So, it's a bit, you can be all brave until you've got a barrel pointing down your face. And then it's like, well, okay, do I make a decision to be a hero and become a martyr, or do I just give them what they want? That is part, and you said something before we went on air, is like, did they get a heads up? Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I was remiss in not saying this last week, and I want to say it now. By no means are we trying to minimize or marginalize. No, minimize is the best way to do it. Say it. Minimize what happened in the Hawke's Bay and Gisborne region. No way are we trying to do that. It was an absolute tragedy. Sadly, I believe it was a planned tragedy, but a tragedy nonetheless. These people down there are victim to what the madness, to the evilness of it all. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but when you start looking at the technologies that are available, like the hurricane machine that we showed you last week, it's not far-fetched at all. Now, to what end? I mean, people ask me that question. It was my mother-in-law asked me the question. She goes, about 9/11. Why would they do that? Why would they kill 3,500 of their own people and then blame someone else? You just said it yourself. So now they blame someone else, and they've now got a reason to go in and invade that. Okay, slightly different story here, but what you've got to remember is over the last 3 years, they've been started on this mass genocide of the planet. Well, this is just a continuation of that. And there's more coming. There's more coming, isn't there, Neil?
Yeah, well, I guess why I wanted to highlight what was going on there. And, those people down there have lost that through excessive amounts of water that their whole community could not handle. So washed out on every level. Now power's being restored back there. The supermarkets are full again, and the fuel stations, all these ones that survived are back working again. So it is easing. They've been pretty good in getting things moving again within 7 days. But the main hard hit areas, they're still digging up bodies and stuff. They're going to hit them for a few months. But the reason why I wanted to highlight that is because they've been seeding the narrative. The big boys have been seeding the narrative about this blimmin' cyber attack or this blimmin' explosion from the sun, which is going to knock out everything here on the planet.
EMP.
And I believe they have the ability to switch every country off from out. You imagine you've got no internet, no phone, no communication, and the banking system doesn't work. So what's going to happen in your community? First and foremost, the shopping malls are everybody, the supermarkets are going to be emptied. You're not going to be able to get fuel out because unless you've got cash. So we've always talked about having plenty of cash on board and food and the thing, but there's that percentage that aren't awake that only live week to week. So they're not prepared. These people are going to do what they need to do to feed their families. Now, the riders, let's just keep it that. So I'm not pointing fingers or anything. They'll be in there. They're probably prepared for this, and they'll be coming for that. Are you prepared for that?
And look, guys, here's the thing. No, exactly. But this can come from people that you least expect as well. Now, I say this because I've got a friend here on the coast, and I'll leave his name out of it. And I really respect this guy. I've got a lot of time for him, and I have done for a very, very long time. But we had this very conversation a couple of weeks ago, and he says, push comes to shove, my family's more important. I don't give a fuck. I'll go into people's houses and take their food.
Yep. And so,
do I believe him? Fucking oaths, I believe him.
so I know people that are prepared, but and so you have to be mindful of every situation. So you're never going to poke the bear. Somebody turns up at your door and knocks on the door with a gun in your face. You give them everything that they ask for. No, that's what you do. But the thing is, you're doubly prepared for something like that. So you give them for what they think is your main stash, where it's not. What I'm saying? Get what I'm saying? Have a double stash. Have stuff buried in the ground or somewhere under a trap door or something that is your real supplies. So at least that they've come, they feel like they've done their bit, they've gone away with stuff and they left you alone. Don't ever poke the bear, not unless you're prepared. If you've got a gun, pull the trigger. And I wouldn't. That's the last thing, because that's something you're going to live with the rest of your life with. So that you don't want to be in that position. And I do believe that everything that we've read is sort of working towards this at some point.
Yeah, and it's closer. It's closer than we think.
Yeah,
that's the big thing to take away.
Yeah, and for me, I've seen that. I'm hearing that firsthand from people in the ground that's already happening because of that disaster. So
let's look at what's happening in Gisborne, man. The government have sent water down. The Manawanui delivered 21,000 litres of water to Gisborne. It's being sold. That's meant to be, it's humanitarian aid. It should just be given to the people. Yeah, somebody's taking control of it, like a warlord in fucking Somalia, and is selling it. That's in New Zealand, guys.
Yeah. And yet Trump, I don't know how much money Trump put into Ohio, but it's gifted, and I would say it's millions of dollars worth of water and food and that for that
He's
whole
one of the most generous presidents I've ever seen, man. He does that. It's just, everyone's got a pass, but I can't believe some of the shit people say about him. Honestly, do you know him? Have you been there? Have you had dinner at his house? Then you're not qualified to fucking say if he's a bad bastard. Same as I guess I'm not qualified to say he's a good bastard, but tell you what, from the good things that I've seen him do that have been reported, far outweigh any of the fucking bad shit that he's done.
Yeah. And the people that are running America now have their tentacles all the way around the world, and I believe we're sort of they're at the end of their financial resources and the end of their technology. And that's why we're seeing an uptake on all the events. I call them FF events all the way around the world.
Yep. We're in the death throes.
Yeah. Which means we are closer than ever before to, what I've always talked about as being the golden age.
Yeah. And look, I think we know one of the dates that has been bantied around, and the reason it has been bantied around is because it's a deadline date for the whole banking communication system. So for the SWIFT cutoff to the ISO 20022, right? And that is the 20th of March. So all of this black swan stuff, when I say black swan, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, it's the collapse of the financial system, the stock markets, everything crashing. This black swan event stuff all has to take place before that date.
Well, on top of that, though, what we're witnessing is the exposure of the deep state, and so if you look at they've just released 46,000 hours of the January the 6th after Trump lost the election. So they're starting to see the truth, but you've got the Hunter Biden laptop. You've got the Epstein releasing all his black book stuff. So you've got all these things coming out that are showing them for who they really are. And of course, they're going to be doing everything within their capability to stop that coming out or diverting our direction to other areas as this stuff gets released. And there's some lists of people that have visited Epstein Island. That it's just when you delve into the depths of Epstein Island and Terra Firma and the evilness of that whole place.
Yep.
This is them in their death throes, not wanting to see that come out, and so the diversion into derailments, fires, earthquakes, storms, you name it, and I don't think we're at the end of any of that yet. But that they're. Did we talk about Project Bluebeam last week?
I think we
One of
touched on it. We sort of joked about it, but not really. But let's come back to it because Tracy said that they've moved the Swift date. So what date have they moved it to, Tracy? Because I know there is another date in November, all to be implemented in totality by 2025. But there's another date in November that talks specifically about the US side of things, not the other side. So what date are you referring to there, mate?
And but on that though, and dates, it's about events.
Yes.
There's so many other things that have to happen, and I do.
And they are.
Yeah, what I think what they're doing, and they're doing it on a fast pace than what it's taken to create their evil. But they're undoing every event that allowed them to take control of us into the slavery system. So they have to do all but they dripped us into the slavery system. Like most people don't know they're in the slavery system, because it's been.
That's right.
And so what we're seeing is a reversal of that. It's been undripped, so to speak.
Yeah.
But at a much faster pace than we were sort of born. We were born into slavery. So, I don't know how long this war's been going on for now. I would imagine,
centuries.
20, yeah.
Centuries. It's funny, even when Harlan said to me last night, we were on our way to Scouts. I was dropping him to Scouts, and he says to me, he goes, "Who is Vladimir Putin the richest guy in the world?" I said, "Well, not officially." I said, officially the richest guy in the world is Elon Musk. And he goes, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "But probably Elon has said that Vladimir Putin's got more money than he is. So there's a good chance that Vladimir Putin is richer than Elon Musk." I said, "But he's still not the richest person in the world." And he goes, "Oh, wow. Who's the richest person in the world?" I said, "Well, the Rothschild family has a fortune of $500 trillion. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, well, they make money off every dollar that's ever printed." He goes, "Oh, so they print their own money." No, you misunderstood. They don't print the money and keep it. They print the money and give it to other people. They rent it to other people essentially, because that's all usury is. That's all interest is. So if every dollar that is in circulation in the world, they get a portion of it. It's like, wow. It's like, yeah, it's pretty evil.
Well, but they can only print money because it's backed by nothing, really.
But they can't print it anymore, can they? Because they lost the keys to the printer.
Yeah.
They lost that when it was 2019, I think. Trump became the treasurer of the Fed. Well, not Trump specifically, but it was Trump. It was his administration.
Well, I'm led to believe that they are printing now, but it's the right people printing, and it's got sort of the notes,
the rainbow notes,
or something. So it is the notes backed by
the US
gold.
Treasury notes.
Yeah. So that's the USD, the USTN, isn't it?
Yep, US Treasury note, TN.
End up probably being digital as well. So yeah, we're in really exciting times, and if you're in fear right now, then you're watching the wrong movie, and you're buying into information that's keeping you in fear. And I haven't sort of anything that I've said today. It's not been to get you into fear, but it's to help you prepare if you get into that situation. So it's a knowing. And as long as it's a knowing, then you're not fearing it. You can prepare for it and be excited about where we're going. Because, and I think if you've got the right vibration and you've lifted your vibration above that, all of that, then these things that I'm talking about you won't even get confronted with them. Which is that sort of low life community trying to do what it needs to do to keep food on the table. So where we are right now, and as we get exposed more and more to this, what appears to be Armageddon type journey, then you need to be excited about that and know that you're in the right place and that you're prepared, for everything that's coming. And we'd love to say dates and all that, but it's events, and it's watching these things roll out and get closer and closer and closer to what I've always considered to be the golden age, and which is what I came here for, what I contracted to come here for, is to help build the world, well, get it back on its feet, and abundance, love, abundance, to do what we want when we want, but with the right heart and the right focus that's beneficial to our family, friends, community, and all that around us. That's what it's all about.
I am still here, but my camera's turned itself off. So now it's got Neil. I know, I've got to sort that out. It's got, I don't know, maybe it's a battery issue. Who knows? Maybe I just need to upgrade. Nothing wrong with the camera. It's a great camera, but it's not necessarily designed as a webcam. So that's all right. But that means we just might finish early today. We're getting early.
It's all good. I mean, your voice comes through loud and clear, and you've always got wise words of wisdom to throw into there, Andrew.
There's shit going on because I keep getting these ISO errors saying it's not recording and shit. So I don't know what it's doing. Anyway,
but we've still got our audience, and well, hopefully we'll be able to run back and see what that recording's doing. Well, so here we are. We're 21 minutes after the hour, and we've kind of touched. Well, we actually didn't really touch on everything that we intended on touching on today. But where were your sort of final thoughts, Andrew, and everything that we talked about today? Did something that jumped into your mind?
Okay, apparently I'm just... Well, you've been looking at that. I've been looking at tech stuff. It says, error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So I'm picking somebody's on the internet here. That shouldn't
within your household.
Yeah. Usually I'm home by myself.
That's why. That's even more interesting. That's why you need to have Starlink.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll tell you what, in these areas that got the geostorm last week, some of the way information's got out is through Starlink. Being able to have a generator there that fires it up and allows it to connect to the Starlink network, and it has helped many, many, many people connect with the outside world and let them know that they're okay.
So here's a little bit of a theory for you then. So that quite possibly, Elon knew that all this shit was coming, because obviously we're in the death throes. Let's face it, they're desperate and they're just throwing shit at seeing what's sticking at the wall. So he rolled out Starlink earlier than he intended.
Yeah.
And wow, doesn't that just come into its own here in locations like this where the government deliberately cuts infrastructure? Interesting.
Well, we're already seeing. We talk about sort of cutting infrastructure and stuff like that. We're already seeing massive price increases at the supermarkets, and the regions that sort of got devastated last week. It'll be interesting to see. The price of apples and all the produce, because they were major produce performing regions for us here in New Zealand. There's probably an export portion of that as well. So all that's going to have an effect on everybody throughout the country. But I'll tell you what though, and we've sort of talked about the negative side of that. We really need to finish on the good side of that, because the negative side is less than probably 10% of the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when we have stories of people, every digger that's had fuel in it has been basically out there helping people clear mud off their sections, clearing the way and cleaning this shit up. Same with individuals. There's so many stories of, like here out of Tauranga, there was the local plane club were flying constantly for a whole day. I'm not sure how many planes, but I just saw just a massive corridor of donated food and goods that were flowing down through there and distributed out through, probably delivered at the airport for distribution. I've seen friends of mine that have filled their vans up. There's only one way in and one way out of that region through Palmerston North. Filling their vans up and heading on over there to help. So when push comes to shove, the real humanitarian or the real heart in people is coming to light and helping our fellow humans. And that's something which goes against their grain. They've done the best to separate us on so many different levels. And it's times like this, there's actually the community is actually waking up again, talking to each other and helping each other. And there's more of that happening than the shit stuff. They always sort of talk more about the shit stuff that's going on, but there's so much good stuff that's going on that we can't ignore, and we need to actually celebrate that, even in the toughest times that we have. So, and that's going to happen when we get the blooming. If you wake up one morning and nothing's working, then just know that you're prepared and you're in a good, and share with them if you need to, but be happy, be excited, because hey, there you are. Be excited about we're so much more closer to being able to live a life completely different.
Yeah, absolutely we are, guys. So keep it high, keep your vibration high. Something you can do if you've got a little bit of anxious or anything like that, there's a simple breathing exercise you can do that will bring you back to balance. Really, really simple. One I picked up this morning, it's just let me think of it, it's the 4-2-6, I think. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 2, and then exhale through your mouth for 6. And just do that for about a minute, and you will center yourself 100%. So that'll break through some of your little bit of your anxiety there. But watch the space for breathing stuff, because we're going to be doing a lot more of that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, sure.
Breath is life. Right, well, Ro, before my camera turns off again, thank you very much for being here with me. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us for the hour. Let us know your thoughts, feedback down the bottom. Something you'd rather see, or something you'd like to see that you haven't seen on the show, then please let us know in the comments, and we will get in touch, or we will do our best to include it. But as you know, this is my camera's about to turn off again. As you know, this is a new channel, so please, we've got recording issues again, but that's all right. Please subscribe to the channel. So that we can build this up and get more stuff out there for you guys. But we'll be back again next time, same time next week, and I'll do my best to make sure that all of my shit is working properly. I should have my new hub by then, so I'll have my old webcam back up just as a backup.
Hey, just before we go though, and one more thing is that make sure that you all have the Signal app downloaded on your phone.
Yep, 100%.
We might see if we can put that link in there somewhere, Andrew, so that they can, if they don't know, but it should be easy enough to find. But that's the one that if all communication goes down, we've been led to believe that is a military grade app, and that's one that you want to have anybody that's close to you, so that you need to contact them, make sure that they've got the app as well. So I just found out the other day that my eldest daughter hasn't downloaded it. So making sure that she's got that on, because she's got the 3 kids. We need to make sure that they can all be contactable. They can contact us. But
it's in the chat there now, guys. I'll also put it in the description when I go back and re-edit it.
Yeah.
But thanks for being here with us. Great to be here with you, Neil, as always. And we'll see you same time next week. If there's something you got value in, guys, make sure you share it out to everybody else. Take care. Be safe. And if we're still on air, we'll be here this time next week.
All right, guys. Love you guys. See you soon.